everyone, you're listening to VIT Community Radio 90.8 FM. I'm your RJ Bhadra. Today, we are in TechKey Talks for the insights of pre-graVITas 2025. Today with me, we have Jithul, Student Organizer, Purchase Committee graVITas 2025 and Devangi, Student Manager, Purchase Committee graVITas 2025. Hello guys.
Hi.
So can you guys introduce yourself?
So I'm Jithul Saji Jacob. I'm studying BTech 4th year in CSE. So this year I'll be handling the job of Student Organizer for Purchase Team graVITas 25.
Hi, I'm Devangi. I'm a 4th year Computer Science and Engineering student at VIT. And this year in graVITas 25, I'll be playing the role of Purchase Manager.
Okay, so I have some questions for you guys. So can we start? So first question is, what inspired you to step up and take on the role of a Student Organizer for graVITas?
Actually, what really inspired me was the scale and energy of graVITas. It's not just another college fest. It's an event that brings together thousands of students, faculties, alumni, industry experts and guests all under one. The idea of being part of something that big and impactful really motivated me. I always believed that college life is about more than just academics. It's also about experiences, leadership and learning outside the classroom. Becoming an organizer meant stepping into a space where I could learn real life skills, communication, decision making, crisis management and teamwork. Another big encouragement was seeing seniors who had worked on graVITas before. Their stories of long nights, challenges and the satisfaction of pulling it all together made me feel like this was something I wanted to experience too. For me, it wasn't just about organizing an event. It was about contributing to a legacy, creating something that others will remember and at the same time growing personally through the process.
So while organizing an event as big as graVITas, challenges are inevitable. So what has been the biggest challenge you faced while putting this fest together and how did you deal with it?
The biggest challenge I faced was time management. On one side, there was academics, assignments, tests, classes, and on the other side, there were fest responsibilities that often demanded urgent attention. It sometimes felt like I had two full-time jobs running parallel. There were moments when requirements would come in at the last moment and we had to act immediately. At first it was overwhelming. I would get stressed thinking I wasn't doing enough for falling behind. But over time, I learned to handle it better by prioritizing tasks. I started breaking down big problems into smaller, manageable steps instead of looking at the whole mountain. I also learned the importance of communication, just being open with my team about what I could handle and when and coordinate with others so we didn't duplicate work. It wasn't easy, but it taught me patience, adaptability and ability to stay calm under pressure. Looking back, those stressful moments actually made me more confident in my ability to manage multiple responsibilities.
So can you tell about your roles and responsibilities as a member of the purchase team? How does your work support the overall success of the fest?
So being in the purchase team is like being a backstage of a very grand performance. And this time the grand performance is organizing the fest of graVITas 25. The audience never sees us directly, but we believe that without us, the show can't go on. Our role as the purchase team is to collect requirements from every domain, make sure the specifications are accurate, prepare the forms, then coordinate with the vendors to get everything and arrange everything on time. The most interesting part is that for us, it's not just about buying stuff. It's about listening carefully, understanding what the team actually needs and making sure the right resource is available in the right time at the right place. For example, say if a technical event needs a very specific component, even in a day's delay can throw the schedule off. So our job is to ensure zero gaps. So I would like to think of the purchase team as the backbone of the fest. So we're not in the limelight, but everything you see happening out there depends on what we do behind the scenes.
Okay. Managing finances is a critical part of event planning. How do you ensure that all purchases stay within the budget while still meeting the requirements and expectations of the fest?
The key to staying within budget is being smart and practical with decisions. First, we never rely on just one vendor. For every purchase, we collect multiple quotations so that we can compare prices and make sure we are not overspending. Second, we always evaluate whether something is truly necessary or if there is a more cost-effective alternative that can still deliver the same result. Another important aspect is communication. When event organizers share their requirements, they often have a big wish list. But once we explain the budget limitations and help them prioritize, they usually understand and identify what's essential versus optimal. This way, we don't compromise the quality of the fest, but we also don't overshoot the financial plan. Budgeting for a fest this big is never easy, but by planning carefully, keeping records and staying transparent, we make sure that resources are used efficiently without waste.
Negotiation is an important skill when dealing with vendors. Could you share an instance where you had to negotiate with a vendor and explain how you managed to get the best deal out?
Yes, I remember one particular instance where a vendor quoted much higher than the standard market rate for certain materials. It would have been easy to just reject the offer, but instead I took a different approach. I explained to them how big graVITas is, the scale of orders we would be placing, and how this wasn't just a one-time deal. It could open the door for future opportunities. By showing them the bigger picture and focusing on building a long-term relationship, we managed to bring down the cost significantly while still ensuring timely delivery. That experience taught me that negotiation isn't just about arguing for a lower price. It's about creating a win-win situation where both sides feel like they are gaining something. It also boosted my confidence because negotiating with professionals as a student isn't always easy. But when you go in prepared and speak with clarity, people take you seriously.
With so many transactions taking place, how do you keep track of all the purchases and ensure transparency and accountability throughout the process?
Oh, that's such an important question because when you're dealing with money on this scale, transparency is everything we believe. We have actually set up a structured system where nothing happens informally. Every purchase starts with a requirement form, goes through quotation, requires the official approvals. There is no way one can say, oh, I just ordered this because I felt like it. On top of all of this, we maintain a digital tracker, almost like a live dashboard, where every single transaction, its cost, and its status are updated every single day. Anyone from the team can access it, cross-check it anytime they want. This not only helps us stay organized, but also helps us with the accountability and trust. Personally, when coming to this all, I feel very proud to say that our system is so transparent that even if you wake me up at 3 a.m. and ask me about a purchase, I can pull it up and tell you exactly where it stands. That kind of clarity not only keeps things professional, but it also keeps the process smooth.
Okay, so if you could go back to when planning started, what advice would you give yourself?
Actually, if I could go back, I would tell myself 3 things. Don't stress too much. Trust the process and enjoy the journey. In the beginning, I used to overthink everything. What if something went wrong? What if we couldn't meet deadlines? What if vendors fried us? But as the process went on, I realized that problems are part of organizing something this big. And there's always a way out when the team works together. So I would advise myself to stay calm, focus on what's within my control, and not lose sight of the fun and learning in the process. Because at the end of the day, graVITas isn't just about the fest. It's also about the friendships, experiences, and growth that comes with it.
Okay, so how do you collaborate with other teams like logistics or hospitality to align purchase decisions with event needs?
So collaboration is one of the most important parts of the purchase process. We don't just buy items in isolation. We sit down with teams like logistics, hospitality, and events to really understand their needs. For example, say if logistics requires materials weeks in advance to test, while hospitality have last minute changes but are very specific requirements for their guests. We make it a point to stay in constant communication, clarify details, and confirm timelines before moving anything forward. That way, we don't just spend money, we spend it in a way that directly supports the actual needs of the event. This kind of teamwork will help us avoid delays, miscatches, or wastage and make sure that every part of this fest is aligned.
How do you train junior team members?
For juniors, the first time can feel intimidating because there are so many processes, forms, quotations, audits, vendor calls. I remember how confusing it was for me when I started, so I tried to make their entry as smooth as possible. I usually start by explaining the basics, why we have these processes, how documentation works, and what the audit team expects. Then I let them shadow me while I handle tasks so they can see it in action. After that, I slowly let them take over small responsibilities while I guide them and answer their doubts. I also encourage them to ask as many questions as they want without worrying about sounding silly. The idea is to build their confidence so that by the end of the fest, they feel like an integral part of the team and are ready to take on bigger responsibilities in the future. For me, training juniors isn't just about completing tasks. It's about passing on the culture of teamwork, responsibility, and ownership that makes graVITas what it is.
What is the most memorable moment you've experienced while working on graVITas?
One of the most unforgettable moments for me was when our team pulled off a very critical last-minute purchase. It was late at night, everyone was tired, and it honestly felt impossible at one point. But instead of giving up, we stayed back, brainstormed, coordinated quickly, and managed to arrange everything in time. The sense of relief and happiness in that moment was priceless. Everyone smiled, laughed, and celebrated a little, even though we were exhausted. It wasn't just about getting the materials. It was about the spirit of teamwork, the never give up attitude, and the realization that together we could handle any crisis. That memory will always stay with me as one of the highlights of my graVITas journey.
Okay, so thank you Jithul and Devangi for your time, and keep listening to VIT Community Radio 90.8 FM.